Hello, you beautiful soul, you. Welcome to the Occult Saga podcast, where I talk about spiritual philosophy from my perspective, and then it's gonna lead into education of actual occult spiritual practices that are of unconditional love and benevolence and just magic. Don't make it weird just because the word in the podcast name is occult. Occult is many things. A lot of it is divinely guided, also guided by God for some people. I don't know why I needed to say that. Maybe we have some new viewers. Welcome if you are a new viewer, because you one of the cool ones just to pop on by here. Even if you're gonna leave and never come back, it's cool. So I'm gonna talk a little bit more softly, or try to. Because it's nighttime, my voice booms. Even if I whisper, you will hear me through walls. That's just my voice. I can't do anything about it, and my house has never been furnished. My apartment is the most bare bones apartment you will ever see on the planet. And yeah, we don't need the echoes. So I'm gonna try not to yell. I'm gonna try and speak softly, but I don't think I'm gonna do it 100%. Either way, we're talking about soul houses today because soul houses have been in my face as a topic for the podcast. I don't know, maybe we'll have some new people that are just getting into spirituality that would really benefit from understanding what our soul house is. So, soul houses, everyone has one. Soul house is your own sovereign space in creation. It's kind of like if I had to put it in terms of technology and video games slash referencing something from that aspect or just, computers and such, it's like in the book Player Number One, you have your own lobby, you have your own world slash your own little space that is just yours. No one else exists in it. No one else has it. Only people that have a invite from you can enter it, except soul houses, not even people you invite can really enter it. You still have to meet in some type of common ground. You need to go out of your soul house. The only time someone is allowed into your soul house is because it is divinely ordained or God-given to some extent. They gotta help you through with something, but it's so fucking rare. It is so rare. You can try and force something happening there. It doesn't happen. It's one of the rarest things ever as well to have someone actually be in that space because your soul house is your world. It's your essence. It's your soul. It's your soul rooms. It's all of your memories, trinkets, shadow. I don't know, teleports, portals, worlds that you want to go to or have been in and want to share. If you go through past life regressions by yourself without a guide, without going into specific spaces in creation or divinely led, you know, spaces and places in creation. If you don't go to those, then you are doing it by yourself, going into your own soul house through whatever means it is for you. You can have an actual house. You can have a spaceship. You can have it on the moon. You can have it in the middle of a black hole. You can have it in the void space. You can have it in the middle of the stars. You can have it in planet Earth, underwater, wherever. Everyone's unique, right? Everyone has their own theme and style and frequency and vibe. And so every soul house is completely different. It's a different theme, it's a different feeling, it looks different, it has different things within it as well. Depending on what type of being or mage or wizard you are, you might have such things as I don't know. You might, this is very bare bones because soul houses is it's a huge topic. I'm not even gonna be able to cover everything. I'm not gonna be able to pinpoint all of it as accurately. To be fair, I think language is too limited to describe soul houses in full to begin with. But as a concept, even if you just try, I think I can relate what it is or where you might be going to do a lot of purging, reflecting, or some type of work. So, yeah, because mostly my experiences with my soul house is releasing stuff and getting stuff out of there and getting rid of it, besides going through different doors and hallways into past lives and regressions on myself by yeah, by my lonesome. But I know that when I was guided to do it, it was different because I actually had a physical person do that for me with me, and I actually I think I'm gonna need to process that before we get to the past lives episode so I can explain how that happened, because now it's just a blank and probably for good reason, so I can stay on topic here. But to rewind, where was I going? I'm in a very happy mood, as you can see, so I might jump around a little bit. Soul houses, there we go. We're gonna have different things depending on the person besides the theme. Wherever you feel most at home, what is the vibe that you like, everyone's different. Um, don't be surprised if your soul house is literally kind of like a weird reflection of all the things you like and or dislike, because it kind of comes to one center focus point, yeah. But you might have, I don't know, libraries and alchemy tables and weird programming stations and I don't know, whatever else, art station, right? You might have a lot of those type of things. Other people might have a lot of like engineering bays and shooting ranges, literally weapon testing and stuff like that. They might have like chemical stations, not alchemy stations, so more like futuristic rather than the magical, whimsy, fantastical side of it, right? Another person might have it very, very like current, contemporary based. So there's, theaters and a very slick style, like in human terms, in terms of like a very simple modern like home or house or whatever, right? Almost like what's the word for it? I can't remember the word for it. Like when it's like a hospital, like completely clean and sanitary like that. So whatever that is. But then, it branches over to also there being like, as I said, a theater room. I don't know, some stargazing. My words are not with me today. It's annoying. What's the thing called in English where observatory of stars, whatever that is. You might have like a that type of room and I don't know. You actually have like a weird basement where it's like just portals to past lives and memories and other things like that. Everyone's different. You might have your own weird understanding when you get to your soul house and you see, but it's going to have all of the themes and interests and the ways you like it. Crafting stations, gardens, weird playrooms like slip and slides and stuff like that, right? Water slides, bouncy castles, whatever it is. Like it really depends on the person and who they are on a soul level and what their interests are and where they really find solitude and home. That's your center point, that's your home, that's where you're going to feel free, and no one's going to interrupt you or come in or do anything. That's where you keep your memories, your items, your attachments, your experiences. There's different avenues on where you can take yourself in terms of like where your experience can come out of your soul house. So you can go into whoever you're connected to. You can go into though that's a whole another thing I guess we'll talk about at some other point. How you connect to people. Because I just looked at it, I just like nuanced. But shadow realms, your dream realms, your past lives, your yeah, memories, trinkets, I don't know, anything and everything. Just imagine it. That's your soul house. And it's the central base where you kind of, in a way, are housed, but you also just can come back to yourself and your center. It can get kind of fucked up and wacky at some points, I'm not gonna lie, depending on what you're going through or what's occurring or what you're heavily attached to or how much you're being drained of life or other things are occurring. It could be cluttered with a bunch of crap you took from other people. It can be cluttered with a lot of stuff of your own personal experience you're hyper attached to, and you become a hoarder. You can also have signs or symbols or effects of like attachments and sickness and illness and stuff like that. It doesn't, it has to be a spiritual one, like a very heavy spiritual one, one where you're losing yourself to the extent of like your soul's identity and feeling of freedom is compromised to that level. It needs to be really, really exceptionally messed up for you to have your soul house affected by something. But it's still a mirror of that effect or the root cause of that effect. It doesn't take like rooting in your soul house. Not that I know of, because everyone's soul house is like divinely ordained and protected, and you only really might be going to help someone else if you have a reason to be there and do that, because it needs a particular finesse and access and honestly, I don't see anyone having access to that place without it being like a special order. So, but it can have reflections of certain experiences and symptoms and feelings you're going through to the point of like it starts malforming because you feel, I don't know, out of alignment with yourself, and everything's like starting to morph around itself and go really weird and wonky. But still, that's just a symptom. Your soul house is your own. It's your own freedom of self, kind of maintained and contained within itself, and it can go weird at points, but that's possibly because you're not maintaining your house. You are probably like not getting rid of some stuff. You're inviting crap that you shouldn't be inviting into it, and it's kind of taking hold and like festering in certain places, right? You're blocking off certain aspects of the soul house. You are not really revisiting things that you should just to reflect and like refresh them or purify them. Because let's say even memories, like in our case, if you don't look at them enough, they might become not even just forgotten in a way and like misshaped, but they might start getting holes in them, right? And you fill those holes up with fabrications and ideas. And other times it also has been said that memories work in a different way, where apparently you're revisiting the last time you had the memory, which I think is to an extent kind of correct. But at the same time, you can either maintain it or get disillusioned a little bit, or illusioned, I guess, right? In a way that isn't good for you. So, yeah, it's not necessarily the best idea to leave your house unattended or leave your house ignored or to leave it cluttering up with a bunch of crap, especially when it comes to trinkets, attachments, memories, and connections you don't need or want. Yeah, rooms you don't need or want, activities you don't need or want. Some of those things are you just sulking, and it's literally like you need to reinvent your soul house just as you reinvent yourself. You need to maintain it like a real home, and you need to actually like give it attention and space and presence. You don't need to necessarily do it consciously. You only really do it when you're going through a spiritual process, as I said, like purging, releasing stuff, or going through regression, or checking certain realms of yourself out. But if you're just going through to kind of go back there when you go to sleep or during meditation or something else like that, it is good to kind of do it with love, not with ignorance. Because some people have tried to ignore their own self and their soul house to the detriment, and it's literally like kind of feeling like you want to jump out of your own skin, but you're not really looking at the place that you always are gonna have a feeling about anyway. Even if you don't go there consciously or you don't give yourself presence and time there, that soul house experience or thing can consume you, and you will not escape it because it is your skin in a way, I guess you could say, or it's a soul's home vehicle. I don't know. It's hard to describe. It is that definitely hard to describe, and I haven't had enough experiences to completely, I think, flesh all of it out. I think that's also for a good reason. I think language is a bit too limited for it, but I also think I might just, this might be a episode I revisit. It might not be. It might be just to lead some people on their own discovery of their soul house, and to see who you are through that scape, through that means, through that lens. How does it look? Is it cluttered? Is it not? Do you fill it with your interests? Is something rotting? Is something showing signs of you experiencing like such a detriment to your own well-being that it started to show symptoms there, right? Because that's a bit of an alarm bell. That is a bit of an alarm bell. The best way I can explain you going through a process of release or realigning with yourself through the experience of a soul house, if it's not past life regression, but release or letting go of something or rearranging things and moving them about and stuff like that is literally it feels like something kind of outside of yourself, somewhere in the ether of creation, gets put into place, into some type of like point of peace, into a better aspect of alignment, and you kind of feel more settled or aligned or in place yourself as well. Just here, but you feel like something outside of you happened, with the result being inside of you and a feeling. I don't know. Convoluted, probably. Hopefully not that confusing. If you've had an experience like that, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't yet, you might. Um, Releasing is interesting because it actually feels like you let go of something somewhere else that was the same as having something roll off of your chest or your heart and completely just go away and let go. Like it is very much distinct in the point of like it doesn't affect you anymore because it left that space. And it's very particular. After that, usually the air around you gets also thinner or slash like in a positive way. It's not as thick or it's not as hard or heavy, but it starts with the point that you start feeling it roll off of your, chest or your center point, whatever that is for you. It could be that a pain gets relieved, honestly. It can be an emotional thing, a mental thing. It could be a pressure. I guess you could also be holding on to something so much like a memory or a trinket that it can create like a illness down here. Honestly, you could be stuffing it down and hiding it in your soul house, and it's like a bad idea because it's making you sick. But it's kind of like, the idea of hoarders. They don't really want to let go of something, even if it's for their health and happiness, right? They're attached to the experience and it's literally toxic to them. And we've all hoarded something we shouldn't have, right? We've all tried to keep a hold of something that just needed to go in some way or shape or form, whether it's sentimental or not. Maybe it's just an item. Maybe it's actual trash at some points, right? But in this case, whatever's happening in your soul house can physically affect you and your actual experience. and it can hold memories, and certain attitudes and beliefs can be lodged into you because you're not letting something go from that space. Behaviors can also stay with you. Habits and addictions, very much so, stay with you if you don't let go something out of there for yourself. And right, you can keep other people's shit there too, which is a no-no. That's not a good idea. While other people can rarely come across your space there, and they will not be able to attach or affect it really, besides like helping move something or give something to you, but you need to willingly take it in as well, and then you get attached to it and you have to go through your own process. In this case, you can hoard other people's shit, and some people that are way too nice for their own good and are too kind and light workers and such might be actually hoarding a bunch of other people's stuff, trinkets or memories even, or whatever else you can, imagine to be in the astral between souls, that you just stuff it all in. Some people have closets, some people hide it in the walls, some people have secret stashes, and some people just have basements full of the shit of other people. I recommend letting go of all of it and not keeping any of it because you're doing a disservice to everyone. If you are keeping other people's materials or items or stuff, one, you're doing it so you can keep a connection or because you really want to help that person and or because you really like them or are attached to them. Two, it doesn't help anyone because they can't process their energy because it's being kept somewhere. Doesn't matter what you want to do with it. You're keeping it stuck and stale and stiff in a place they can't reach or access or realize and feel themselves. Doesn't matter how much it might torture them or might be uncomfortable or bad or might cause them illness or other things. It's important to give other people freedom and sovereignty over their own energy. They have free will to either go through their healing or not to go through it, but they don't have a chance if you're taking a hold of their items in in the astral in this case, between soul houses. You also can't some things I guess you keep can maintain or change the course of energy, obviously, right? So if you're, say, let's say, keeping something from a past life, the past life doesn't change. It keeps staying the way it was, but it maybe something needs to heal from it, needs to get recycled, reaffirmed into a different form, renewal, reintegration of like actual trust or truth or clarity of some sort, right? Um, and when I say trust, I don't mean of each other, but the trust of what the truth is, because usually if you keep other people's stuff, you're keeping an illusion that isn't, or a truth, I guess, an illusion or a truth, depends on the situation, that isn't desired to be seen yet by one or two parties. Most of the time it's both, but sometimes it can be one-sided where a person is avoiding either their truth or doesn't want to like actually have the other person face something hard and difficult, but that's like as nice as it gets. Usually it's still a very unhealthy thing to do, and a lot of people and beings do that all across creation. It's a little bit unhinged in a way as well, at how mass of a concept or experience it is and how often it's done because it doesn't actually provide connection or stability. It provides ignorance and suffocation. Everyone needs to have a hold of their own items and stuff and baggage and memories and past life stuff if they want to actually process it. If they're not processing it, that's their own experience to be lived. As a healer, if you're trying to, I don't know, freaking balls to the walls it and hardcore it by taking up other people's stuff. It doesn't matter if it's your child or partner or whatever it is, soulmate, right? Soul family, or people you have taken mercy or pity upon. you're not helping them. You're actually just adding a bunch of weight to your own self. And even if you alchemize their stuff, right, it's probably going to come back to them. It's just going to, be a 2.0, or it's going to grow faster, more rapidly, get heavier, going to be harder for them to see or notice or understand and heal because it has like these weird gaps in their experience and how it became a thing, or it just was such a prolonged thing of truth being withheld that they couldn't pass judgment on themselves. They couldn't move forward with the process they needed to. They can't do alchemy. Kind of like evidence being withheld in a court. I don't know why that example came through, but the process can't go forward the way it has to, right? Because no, not all relevant information is there to pass some type of like yes or no or whatever action. I guess in data computing, that's also a thing, right? You're gonna start having errors if you have fucking holes in the goddamn code if it's not all there. It's especially prominent for souls or the healing process of all of us. So don't hoard other people's stuff. Let it go. It's gonna be uncomfortable. You're gonna notice how attached you are to some of it. Take your time. It's kind of hard. Ask for help. Definitely ask for help. Ask for help from the Most High because they're the only ones that can actually help you with it to begin with and can set it up and all the other things. And I just noticed that I think the only beings that really might have access, but even then, there has to be a level of it being divinely or ordained or aligned. It is like your ancestry or your ancestors, which is kind of interesting, but also makes sense. I don't know, maybe there's like a thing like a tree of soul houses. It's kind of like a tree, family tree with the freaking, pictures and everything like on every branch. But except for all of those pictures being of people, it's actually soul houses. That just came to me, so I don't know. I don't know. That's just me being silly, but sometimes where you're silly, it's not you actually being silly. I feel like that's all I have to say on the topic. I feel like I still gave a decent amount of information, um, slash a lot of it. But when I was thinking of the episode, I was like, the fuck am I gonna say about soul houses? My experience of them is very particularly surreal and exceptionally weird, in my opinion. Um, I don't even want to go over it. I really don't want to even go over it. At some point, if you all ask me a lot, I might actually go there. I might not. I feel like I will not, but you can, you can try. Um, I just wanted to provide a clarity or I don't know, an idea for people that might be experiencing this to understand what the hell is happening, especially if they encounter it with uh, not just with themselves, but with other people, or with other people doing healings and clearings for them and etc. and stuff like that. This is a weird one. I did notice one practitioner on Twitch. He was invasive. Everyone said that. Whoever is someone I talked to while getting like a reading from them said the same thing. And some people that are my friends that are watching this are gonna instantly know the name of that reader. I ain't here to call out anyone. I'm just here to talk about truth. The thing is, that person knew they were working with some fucking daft shit either way, like not kosher, not nice beings, that somehow worked in the background of everything, in the in between of so many realms that like I don't know how to even explain. Definitely a denser energy, but one that kind of goes like a web across multiple strands of reality. And they somehow can could read something. Definitely, that wasn't just the individual or person. I know that they were capable of doing such readings only because it was mostly channelings. It wasn't tarot divination. It was channelings and meditation, and then he would provide certain images and other things. So the thing is, like, because he could tap in through those beings into this fabric, because he'd have limitations otherwise, he, one, broke a lot of, like, consent and free will rules just because of how invasive he was, and also how much that was kind of like the purpose of it was to gather energy and information to then kind of like keep people under a certain foot of a being, and then also possibly maybe even blackmail some beings. So that's not great. But they could actually read some aspects of your soul house. Not sure how, to what extent, or where, but they could for sure, for a fact. Yet again, what I said, I feel like still stands. So if you have experiences outside of what I described, right, um, there might be a reason for that because I know of people invading other people's caches of stuff and other stuff like that. But then I also am thinking, like, was it really their soul house? Because I don't think that was their soul house. I think then that that was certain other aspects of the astral that other people could like spy and invade on, and there's still certain points of that, but then there's also a point of like you can look through different aspects of reality or creation or webs that interconnect dimensionally to see certain aspects or things that you don't have access to and you can't interact with, but something or someone can still sometimes see it. Um, that's why it's good to kind of keep your shit to yourself. Keep your information to yourself. Figure out yourself the most, but don't transmit it to everyone. Don't like, send it out over the airwaves. I don't know why that just came through. I think maybe someone might need this information in the future. That like just because no one can kind of come in and do anything doesn't mean they can't read it to then maybe steal something from somewhere. Besides, just have some shit on you. So, be sure to not leave yourself open to certain people, to be cautious and wary, and to trust your intuition despite what I say, because you might come back to this video and educate me about like, hey yo, hey fucking yo. So, but this is just my understanding through my experience, through the many different other things I've observed, and how I'm being told to speak to this right now because I wasn't gonna say like, oh, it has to be divinely ordained for someone to kind of come close to even like, I don't know, helping with your soul house or doing whatever the fuck they're gonna do. But at the same time, I was pushed to say that very strongly. Maybe something changed in creation. I just heard like, yeah, you just clicked on something, so maybe the rules were different previously, which would make sense. But currently, now as they stand, no, everyone's gonna have their own sovereign land of you don't fuck with shit here. If you're really good at spying, you might still figure some stuff out, but even then, it's not the whole thing. You might just only figure out a part that might be relevant, and even then, if it's not relevant, if it's not through malevolent means of like some really dank old energy that's like malevolent as fuck, you might not be able to do it. And if you do it, it's because you're guided and something needs you to do that. I don't know what the hell for, besides healing, I guess, right? And illumination. But yeah, that was a weird episode. I hope this helps someone. I did not expect some of the stuff to be said. I wouldn't logically have said what I have said, but I am kind of like it's a no non-negotiable thing what I just said, so I'm leaving it. I can't fight energy or the higher forces and ascended masters I work with, because I trust them and they know their shit. And I know I can let you do you and figure your own life and energy out and have your own spiritual, intuitive experience. And if you're one of those weirdos that doesn't have weird ass experiences and isn't on the spiritual path, but you just watch for entertainment, kudos, good on you. I don't know. I believe this was just as entertaining. So thank you for being here. Thank you for spending your time. And let me know if you want to about soul houses, whatever it is to your other stuff or your opinions. I think most people might say no because it's a sensitive topic personally to the soul, but if you find like there's something that pops up that you can share, feel free. That goes for any and every episode I do. I just know that the topics are mostly too sensitive most of the time for everyone to be sharing their experiences or posting their opinion or whatever. I know how awkward it might feel for like spiritualists and empaths and sensitives and the like, even if it's in a controlled space like here. So you stay awesome and amazing because you are, and I love you. And I hope you have a good time. And if not, you cope through it and you look after yourself. And I'm gonna say peace out, have a good one, and I'll see you next time for another episode or a pickup pile. P.S. P.S. I started streaming on Twitch again. Don't tell anyone. We keep it cool there. Okay.